Hey, welcome to our tutorial on urdhva mukha savasana, so upward facing dog. I read the other day, I'm reading a lot, I love reading. When you're passionate about a subject matter, you go chasing any information that you can on that subject matter, and that denotes a passion, I guess, for what you do. So I was reading the other day about urdhva mukha as being a wave that you move through, and you get to the peak of that wave, and just that moment of suspension is the peak of the pose before you press back up into downward facing dog. And I thought that was such a beautiful analogy as to how we can approach our urdhva mukha. Instead of thinking about the pressure on this and the challenge of that, but to lift into that lightness of just being the wave and moving and flowing with the movement. So let's come into our tabletop pose, and we're going to press the hands into the mat. And for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to ask you to step back into plankasana, so plank pose. And we're going to take our chaturanga here, and then we're going to move forward into urdhva mukha. So my hands are pressing firmly into the earth. My legs are engaged, my toes are pressing into the floor. My chest is open as though my anahata chakra is bursting forward, and I'm drawing the shoulder blades down and back, opening the chest. So here my head's forward. Final expression of the posture is to actually look up towards the ceiling. Then eventually we tuck the toes, exhale, and press back into our downward facing dog. So I'm just going to drop back down to tabletop. So in order to get to our urdhva mukha, we can move through a couple of different ways. So if you don't quite have the strength to move through a chaturanga dandasana, I'm just going to back it up a little bit. That wall's getting a little close. You can come from all fours, drop down into your ashtanga namaskar, and move forward to cobra. So this can be your little replacement for your urdhva mukha. And from here, tuck the toes, pressing back up into downward facing dog. So again, from here, coming down, and you're actually going to use or start building the strength of the triceps here, dropping down, ashtanga namaskar, inhale, and then lifting to quite a high cobra here. And eventually you can press up to urdhva mukha, tuck the toes, lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. So again, I'm coming back down to my hero's pose. So if we take this posture from plank, where we want to go is with the hands underneath the shoulders. You're going to slightly shift the body weight forward. And as you slightly shift the body weight forward, you then start to lower down to plank. Now, I know I'm on my knees here because I'm just doing like a little demonstrate and chat. Normally your feet will be back, and we'll go through that in a moment. But with that little shift forward, that brings the shoulders forward a little bit and allows the elbows to journey back, squeezing the elbows into the side body to lower down to that point in your chaturanga before you start to lift up to your urdhva mukha. So it actually gifts you a little bit of leeway so that you can travel through and up. So if you get stuck back at your shoulders, you kind of have nowhere to go in there and nowhere to move. So if we come back to our plank pose, pressing the heels into the back of the mat, hands just a little bit wider than the shoulders, and I'm going to show you that shift forward here, dropping it down, and then you've got room to lift and grow that urdhva mukha. So my glutes are engaged here. I'm lifting up through the front of my quadriceps, drawing the hips down to the earth while the hands press into the floor. I lift up through the chest, draw the shoulders down and back. Everything's engaged, and I'm looking up as a final expression of the posture before I tuck the toes, exhale, and press back to downward facing dog. Dropping back down onto the knee, turning to the front. So things that we can do to work through this posture: bhujangasana, cobra pose, locust pose, anything that's opening up through the front of the body. is going to be really helpful in this posture. One of the opening exercises that I like to do upon going into or before going into a series of sun salutations is actually to squeeze the legs together, sit back on the heels in Vajrasana, and then lift the knees. So I'm actually working into the front of the shins here, and you can sit and you can hold this posture, drawing the tummy into the spine, lengthening through the back body, drawing the chin down to the chest, squeezing the legs together, tummy into the spine, lift the chest, sit back, lift the knees. So many micro adjustments. So this is just going to open up through the front of the shins there and the feet, so that as you're rolling through that urdhva mukha, you can actually lift up into the front of the feet without too much of a challenge. Another nice one before you go through the process of a sun salutation and moving into your urdhva mukha is this toe opening exercise. And I know this doesn't seem like much, and for some people it might be a really joyous thing. Certainly wasn't when I started out, but it's been enormously beneficial in terms of opening up the toes so that I can spread the toes in the balance in that chaturanga, going down into the chaturanga dandasana, and then rolling through the feet to get into your urdhva mukha, your upward facing dog. So you can take a few breaths here, you can add some arm stretches in, side stretches, open heart stretches, drawing the shoulder blades together, anything to move the attention away from the toes. So our urdhva mukha, our upward facing dog, here we go. Oh, my toes feel so much nicer now. From my chaturanga dandasana, dropping down, rolling over the toes, lifting up through the front body, drawing the hips down, shoulders down and back, bursting through the chest with love and joy, and then exhale and pressing back into downward facing dog and taking as much respite as you need in your downward facing dog. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of information there, and I look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial.